Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is take my starter out of the fridge. And I like to put it kind of in the sun because it'll get to room temperature faster. Okay, so it's been like 3 hours, so it's time to feed the starter. So I don't have very much in here. And you know you want the consistency to be like pancake-ish batter. So in this little jar, I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it. Take like this much flour. It's like 1/3 of the volume that's in there. So I just dump that in there. And I don't do much water, I do like a tiny bit of water. Like maybe that much. Hardly anything. Sometimes I don't do water at all. And then I'll mix that up and I'll let that activate for like 4 or 5 hours. Okay, so my starter's doubled in size, so I know it's pretty much ready to go. So I have my starter, my salt, and then I have 1.5 cups of water in here. So you just want to add the salt first, like 2 tablespoons approximately, about that much. And then we're going to add our starter to it, 1/4 cup of starter. Just going to open this up. So I take 1/4 cup and dump that in. And see how the starter floats? That's how you know it's good. They call it the float test. And then once I get all this in there, I'm going to mix this up first before I add my flour. Now we just mix up this part. Alright, so now that this is mixed up, get your flour ready. And then we're going to turn this on to ounces and let it just zero out. And then we're going to add flour till that says 16, which is about 2 overflowed cups. There's 1 and 2. We're at 14, a little bit more. Tiny bit more. 16, bam. And it doesn't matter if you go over. So we'll mix this up, and then we're gonna let this sit for a little while. And this is what it should look like when you're done mixing it. And then you just put this lid on, and then we're gonna throw it into the fridge overnight. Okay, so I've taken this out of the fridge, and it's now like room temperature. So I'm gonna fold it now. And I do this probably like 4 or 5 times, and there's no rhyme or reason to it. Like, people might think, oh, you gotta fold it a certain way. It doesn't matter. And maybe it matters with their bread, but with this bread, since it's so wet, it's all gonna meld together once we do our last fold. So you can fold it in whatever way you want. I usually just stretch it out as much as I can, and then I'll hold it with one hand and like twist it, do this maybe, and then boom, back in there. And then I'll let it sit for another hour, and I'll do that exactly. Now I'm doing my last fold, so I just have like my proofing stuff out. It's like 3:45-ish. So I'm gonna let it stay out the rest of the night in the proofing basket. So once again, I just fold it like this. Da-da-da. And again, it does not matter how badly or pretty you fold it. You just flatten it out, fold it all up like that. I plop it on the parchment paper this time. Bam, proofing basket. And then this stays out until I go to bed. Okay, so now it's 11 o'clock. I'm going to bed, so I just take this bread. I'm gonna throw it in the fridge overnight. So now it's morning. So I'm gonna set the oven to bake. I like to do 500 because I like crispy crust. And you can see my pot's in there to get warmed up. Okay, so the oven has preheated for 30 minutes, so now we're taking our bread out of the fridge. We take the cast iron out. And we plop it in like so. Alright, so it's been 30 minutes. So now we're just gonna take this lid off. And it stays in for another 15 minutes.
Okay, hang on.
Alright, the last 15 minutes are over. And this is what your final product should look like.
Let's not open that.
I like to cool it on a rack because it keeps the bottom really crispy. Boom. Leave it out for 30 minutes or so and then enjoy.